Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. This is your average guy, John Corelli. Just got back from my 2 to 3 mile walk. I don't know exactly how far it is. I don't know if it really matters. I'm trying to do this every morning until I get back into school, which is another 2 weeks away. As you can see, my hair is sweaty and I am gross. Happy to be here talking to you. That gets me to a subject, depression. I think almost all of us are battling it. Just depends what level. Mine isn't clinical, but man, am I having it lately. But I also am lucky enough to see when things are good and to recognize them and to cling to them as necessary. Some guy's drilling over there. That's not making me depressed, just annoying me. It is the suburbs, man. There goes a jet, like some Lear-sounding jet over, man. Jeez, is this what's like to be in Lebanon? I don't know. Just kidding. Lebanon, Pennsylvania, maybe. But anyway, yeah. So when I go on these walks, I have a lot of thoughts, uh, and I'm one of those guys that just goes up and down emotionally a lot, and I try not to subject the people I love to it. Unfortunately, my kids have had to deal with it a lot. I'll be just fine, and then I'll do something silly like drop a fork out of the sink onto the floor while I'm doing the dishes and just scream a cursing spree because of that. That's the type of guy you're dealing with. I'm kind of a psycho, but I'm a harmless psycho. I think I'm harmless. I do worry about that, about how my kids are like on edge all the time. Logan has OCD. I don't know if that's necessarily because I can flip out sometimes, or if it's just because that's the way he's built, and that his mother had to, was technically a manic depressive, and has had to deal with all of that her entire life. She's been on medication since she was 18, right after she tried to kill herself when she was a freshman in college. Luckily, she lived, and she was a good wife for 15 years, and we have these two wonderful boys. And I do get to focus on them when I have these moments. I might not even finish this video. I'd rather have them drill throughout the whole thing rather than intermittently, which is natural. I mean, it's kind of an unreasonable expectation to expect him to just either drill for 10 straight minutes or just stop so I can do my silly little video that two people watch. Anyway, back to depression. I think that for me, the reason I have depression is usually it's not individual things that have happened to me or small things that have happened to me. When my depression manifests itself, it's because of big things. And right now, the big thing that is I always think about is the overheating of this planet. And I know it's a theme I keep coming back to, but I think in the end, I think it's the only thing that matters. Thought aloud about it today, and what I'm trying to get better at as a comic is talking about stuff that's pertinent and that's upsetting, but that can be made funny. Like I think about Bezos leaving the planet in his overly penis-shaped rocket ship. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's like you literally put a head on it. Before it was, very, very phallic. Now it's an absolute dead-on penis. I mean, like, why didn't you just paint it flesh color? It's that obvious. And so, maybe I need to get up on stage and do jokes about that. Jokes that upset me at first, that the guy that's worth $200 billion, instead of putting half of that money into saving this planet that has treated him so well, is instead acting like a little kid with an ice cream cone or in a toy store going up into space. Same with Elon Musk, same with Richard Branson. I get annoyed with all those guys. But I find if I joke about it, it's not only better for me and how I deal with my depression, it's also good for the audience. It can be good to make some people laugh. And I'm also at a crossroads doing comedy in general. I've got a show at the Mercury tomorrow night. I was supposed to have another show up in Morrison, but it got pushed back a week. And so I'll have a double dip next week on the 31st. I'll do some comedy in Morrison early, and then I'll get down to the Mercury. And I'm thinking that may be my last show at the Mercury because I'm burned out on comedy. I love doing it, but I don't get paid for it. I'm funding the shows. I'm losing money, not a lot, but enough that I'm not making money, that's for sure. And the new room I'm in is not very conducive to comedy. Next to us, we've got a piano playing, not in the room next to us, so there's piano music. There's a curtain that we can draw, and that kind of helps lessen the noise both ways. But then my comics got to be careful because the first week I did it in that room a couple weeks ago, Marilyn, the owner, who's great, I have no complaints, but she came in and said, "You need to turn down the volume. It's bothering the diners in the other room." Like, this room is not conducive to comedy. And then up above us, where I used to do comedy, where we could be loud, now there's music up there while we're doing comedy, and it's just thumping right through the ceiling. So it's not a very good room to do comedy, at least as well as I want to do it. And I'm just kind of burned out. And I like last night. I know I've been talking a lot about my father, but it's what my life's about right now. We wasted an hour and a half just arguing politics in our relationship, and as always, it went nowhere. And we started with the relationship, and it dealt, and he just takes. It's like a river, you know. It's just all of a sudden, it's like we're over here. We were just talking about how I'm apparently a big liar, and now we're on Clinton because he was a big liar, and then I turn around and say, well, how about Trump? And we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I don't know why so many people think Trump is a great guy when he's actually a pretty horrible human being, but hey, whatever. You rationalize, you do you. But I did. I kind of laid into Trump a little bit, and my dad goes, "Kiss my fat ass," which is funny from a 74-year-old in poor health. And I just said, "Bye." And he's like, "No, no, 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 no." And I said, "No, bye." I go, I wouldn't take that from anyone. I'm certainly not going to take it from you. You want to have a discussion, even a heated discussion, but once you call me a name or tell me to kiss your fat ass, I did. I just got up and left. And then, of course, he called me later and sort of apologized, but also made it pretty much my fault. It's this weird apology where, I wouldn't do these things if you didn't do this. It's like, no, you told me to kiss your fat ass, and I left. That's it. That's what happened. But there are other things, so stuff like that brings me down, and it's also, he's still micromanaging. We got a house full of shit to get rid of, and we're not going to do it in 2 weeks. We're just not. And unless there's an incredible paradigm shift in his attitude and what we need to get done and what he will allow me to get done, I don't see it happening. And I told him yesterday, I think I've told you guys this too, it's like the old warehouse adage, lack of planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. And I've told him that several times the last few days, because there's only so much I can do. There's only so much me and Dante and Logan, if we all come up here, can do. If you don't allow us to do stuff, we can't do it. Okay? And I'm not going to beg you, and I'm not going to sneak around and do stuff behind your back and then get yelled at, because it's just not worth it for me. The stress is already high. But then, then other things I'm lucky, because I can take the big things and kind of get depressed by them, but then I can take the little things and they make me very happy. Like last night, Logan worked his first real day at Lakeside. 2 nights ago they got rained out, and we thought we were going to get rained out again because it rained pretty heavily last night. But they had a pretty good turnout. People showed up, and it was kind of cool. Like, it's been a couple of years since I've heard people screaming on a roller coaster, and that was kind of cool. As I was waiting for him in the car in the Lakeside parking lot, you could hear people screaming on rides, laughing. It was nice, and that made me happy. And it also made me happy that when he came out, he looked a little worn out, but he looked confident and that he had done a good job. So that was really nice. And I said, "How'd it go?" He said, "It went great, man." They put me together with this kid named Samuel, and we worked concessions, and we worked like the prizes for when you win a bunch of tickets at skee ball and you want to get a little green army man that's that big for 50 tickets, whatever the ripoff is. They worked that, and he said it went really well. He said he likes this guy, and he hope he remains paired up with him, because they had decent conversation. And I said, "Hey, yeah, this may be the job where you make some lifelong friends." And I know I mentioned that probably last time about my job at Tivoli and how important that was for the lifelong friends I made, and how influential they were, and how influential that job was, keeping me in college, keeping me in an apartment without having to have a roommate. All of that is a big deal. But yeah, so a lot of stuff's going on. I'm busy as hell. I will be today trying to support my friend Pete. He was one of my best friends, whose wife died back in April. I did an homage to her. Her name was Pam, and today would have been her birthday. Today, I think she would have been 52, and he's going through a lot. So I'm going to try to be there for him. I'm trying to be there for a lot of people lately, and it's tough. I'm lucky. I'm a pretty strong person at my core, but I'm feeling pretty put upon lately. But all you can do is just, hey, have a drink. It's coffee, Mom, I swear. And just try to carry on. Love you guys. Thanks for listening to me babble. Hopefully I come up with some more interesting stuff soon. Maybe I'll just tell jokes one of these sets. You gotta fly on me. Get away. I'll get away. Bye.